So in this video, I'm going to go through the Excel number 4 homework. So this is related to chapter 11 materials. And we're going to use Excel to do some data visualization task. Okay? And if you are Mac users, you need to use virtual machine to complete the assignment. So we're going to, the data file we use is chapter 11 data file, the name of the data file, which is on canvas already. So the task is to use Excel to do analysis. We're trying to analyze the total sales amount by store locations. And we're trying to have a visual, like use some graph to graph the data, okay? So here's my data. I have already opened it and trying to understand what the data has. It has the customers, has 3 tables and orders and stores. Okay, you can see. So because we're gonna do sale amount by store location, you can see that in the store table, we don't have that data sale amount. So somehow the sales amount is in here in the orders table. So from this assignment, we're going to learn that how to link different tables so we can do some analysis. And the first step is to define tables. So you have learned how to define tables in your previous analysis. Here, you just use Control T, okay? So, and it's not showing up. What's wrong? Because my mouse is not, this box is not inside the table. You need to put it inside the table and then Control T. So now, and before you click OK, you always want to check whether your dotted line covers the right area you wanted to define the table. And here it is. So I say OK. And then I'm going to name this as customer table because it's more informative to me. And I do the same thing for the other 2 tables. And Control T, put the mouse here, Control T. And then you can see that now the dotted area has a lot of, like you go down, has some blank area. And this will mess up the later steps. So we cannot do that, cancel. And the reason it has blank cells is because it's highlighted the blank cells. So I need to put the mouse again inside the table, Control T, and this time check again and see now my dotted box is covered the white area. And then click OK, and I'm going to name it orders. So, and then I do the same thing for stores, Control T, okay, and then this one will be stores. Because I need you to give me a screenshot of your table, so you wanted to put your name here, Valerie Lee, okay? So this will be, and then give me the screenshot which shows your name, because you can't put your name somewhere outside of the table and it won't show the table name, okay? So please make sure you do that. And then the next step is to set the relationships among tables, which means that we need to link the tables using table identifiers. There are 2 kinds of identifiers. One is the primary key, which is an attribute or column that uniquely identifies each row, which is an observation in the table. Okay, so coming back here in stores table, the primary key is the store identifier, which means that this is a variable that uniquely identify each observation. Observation is each row. Like this is one observation, this is one observation, and it's also called rows. So we're gonna learn this again later, but now it's good to know. So the primary key will uniquely identify each record for observations. For Boston store location, store identifier is this FS001. And then we have what we call the foreign key. Foreign key is just the primary key in other table, but now in current table. Okay, so you're going to use the foreign key to link the table. And in the store table, there's no foreign key. We go to the orders table, and you can see that the primary key for the orders table is order number, because this number identifies each orders. The order table contains the order information for each order. And it also have store identifier here, so which means that the first order is done by this store identified by FS001, which is the Boston stores. Okay, so this order was sold by Boston. So the store identifier is a foreign key in this table. And it also has another foreign key, which is customer number, which we're going to use to link this order table and the customer table later on. Okay, so that's a step 2. So let's see. Step 2 is to link the table. We haven't linked it yet. So how do we link the table? Just put the mouse again somewhere inside the table and then click data, click relationships. And note that Mac users do not have this button, relationships. So that's why you need the PC. And then click new. Here, I'm going to pick the tables and the columns you wanted to use for this relationship. I'm going to link which table? The orders table, and using the store identifier to link the store table, which is this one, and using the store identifier. Where is it? Here. And then click OK. So I have my first relationship. And I also wanted to link the orders with customers. So link the order. Always define the main table as a table has the foreign key. Okay, customer. And link the customers using the customer number. So in this step, you just need to give me this screenshot of that shows your name as well. Okay. So note that the relationship here, the left part is the main table that has the foreign key informations. So you put that in your main table, and this table, the related lookup table, is the linked table that you just defined. So that's step 2. Step 3 is now we need to set and modify attributes for visualization using pivot table and pivot chart. So now we are ready to use a pivot table function and pivot chart to do the analysis, which is analyzing the total sales amount by store locations. Okay, so how do we do that? So I'm going to click close, and now let's use the pivot table function. So let's go to the table and then see where is it. I need to find it. So the pivot table tab, let's go to the insert and then use the pivot table tab. Okay, so here it pop up a pivot table like dialog box, and here we cannot select a table because we have multiple tables. We're going to use the workbook's data model and want our pivot table in the new worksheet. So you click OK, and here you can see that it has all 3 tables. Okay, all 3 tables. So so that way we have defined pivot table. But then the next thing we need to do is to use the pivot table and pivot chart to do this analysis, total sales by store locations. Okay, so what we do is first we wanted to put the store locations in a row, like what you did in our chapter 10, because this is a category data, and then we wanted to analyze how many sales amount, right, for each store location. So now you can see that the pivot table gives us this categorized analysis. Austin location has this sales amount, Boston has that, and then we need to format that. So when we format that, let's see, we click, value field setting, and then for the sum of the sales amount, you can change it if you want. Total sales, okay, so now it's changed to total sales. And let's see if we can format it. Format sales using number. Let's do currency, and it's only format that. And let's see if I format this one. Maybe I should do this. So when you click the arrow here, you go to the value field setting, and then here, because it shows the total sales, which is the column we want to format, it has a number format, and you put it as currency, and then that should format all these numbers. See, and then you just give me the your screenshot here, and it's okay if you don't have your name in it, because you need to put the mouse inside and show the pivot table, but you need to show part of this. Okay, so that's a pivot table thing. And then the next one we want to do is to put it in the chart. So now we are ready to use the pivot chart function to do some graphical analysis. So we wanted to find out to get the pivot chart tab, you need to put this in the pivot table, and here in my Excel looks like that. Yours might just have the analyze tab. That's okay, just click on that, and then you find the pivot chart, click that. So we want a bar chart, okay, bar chart. And so the bar chart is this way. I don't know if I can, let's see, column. Okay, it has column, so I like the column way, because sometimes it's just have the bar. You do the column chart, and then click OK. Here is your chart. Okay, so it's total sales by location. So you can change the title to total and Valerie. So that means you did that. So and then just screenshot the whole thing here, and copy and paste to your Word file. Okay, so then the next thing we're gonna do is do step 5. So the step 5 is to output chart, bar chart, actually column chart, for sales amount of Hypericom by store locations. Okay, so if you go back the data here and go to the orders, you can see that there are a bunch of the different flowers name, and I wanted to see this particularly Hypericom is sold. How many Hypericom is sold by each store location? Okay, so so how do we do that? Go to the, again, still stay this in this pivot chart interface, and we need what we call the slicer. So slicer in my Excel, I have it right here. Okay, I will just click that. But let's see, if you put your mouse here, it also has a slicer because it's insert. But if you put a mouse here, it also has a slicer. So for mine, but for some Excel, it may turn out differently. Just click the slicer, and I wanted to use the flower name as my slicer. So the slicer looks like that, has different flower names. And then once I click the ones that I wanted to see their sales, I just click it and see now the chat shows, what the chat shows is a slicer graph. Okay, so you need to change that to hypericon because it's not total sales, and then that's your bar chart. So you can just screenshot the whole thing again to step 5. That's your Excel. That's your Excel assignment 4.